What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Between the Cons. My name is Chris, and with me today, the Outlaw Steve Jr.
Bang, 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 bang.
And MF
Bang.
Dane.
Hey, I'm not going to do an MF Doom line this time just to mess with you.
Oh my gosh, you're the worst. I was just thinking, I wonder if he forgot to look up his Doom lyric. And he's like trying to remember one right now.
No, he's like, I'm not going to do Doom line this time.
No, you're messing with me. Well, anyways, thanks to everybody for tuning in. We are back. We're going to be talking about some Vigi games.
Vigi games?
Vigi games.
Vigi games?
And the Outlaw Steve Jr. is here because
he was bored.
He interrupted the last recording
that's right.
to find out what we were doing.
Well, you know, I had a lot of really important things I was supposed to do tonight, and they all fell through. And rather than go gamble, which is my natural inclination.
That is not your natural inclination.
No, it's not. I never heard you
It's
gamble
not you.
about gambling in a day in your life.
I've won last time I went gambling, I won $1,700. So you both can eat a bag of cell phone games.
All right.
Nice save. All right.
Yeah.
Eating a bag of mobile games. Anyways,
All those flat.
thanks for tuning in.
It sucks that we can't say what I wanted to say, but everybody out there knows what I was going to say. So now when you hear cell phone games, just think of what I was going to say and just replace that for the rest of the episode.
Great. That's going to ruin the episode. Excellent.
I feel like you might as well just say phalluses. That's PG enough.
Fallacies?
Fallacies? Yeah.
Moving on.
So, check us out on the internet. We're at Between the Cons on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're going to be talking about pay-to-play structure for video games with all of the EA craziness, Electronic Arts craziness with Star Wars Battlefront 2. We figured we were going to piggyback off of episode 54 with the Wonder Twins and talk a little bit more in depth.
One of my favorite episodes, episode 54.
Yeah, episode 54, the future, what was it called? The future of gaming or something like that.
Whenever I'm feeling down, I just whip out episode 54 and just
God, stop talking.
Just a personal favorite. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about pay-to-play gaming. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Wait, where are we going?
So like I said, we're going to be talking about pay-to-play gaming. The name of episode 54, just so everyone knows, it's called Life in the Post-Gaming Era. And we're going to piggyback off of that. We're going to talk about EA. So EA released Star Wars Battlefront 2, and it has not done super well.
Get out of town.
It hasn't. Sales are down 61%. From the release of Star Wars Battlefront 2 years ago. And they basically had such a bad Black Friday that they officially announced microtransactions are out the door because on top of the $60 game price that you'd pay for the game, some Redditor did the math and it was going to cost an additional $2,500 just to be able to play the rest of the game to completion and get all the characters and all the unlockables and all that kind of stuff. An additional $2,500.
But that was if you bought it. Like if you bought them all initially. Because what makes it worse is that just to unlock Luke or Vader, this is back before they decided to drop the price down dramatically.
It was like in half.
Yeah, and they dropped it lower than that because it was like 40,000 credits to get Luke or Vader, and it took at least 40 hours to get to that point. Like also by like buying other stuff, like buying like upgrades and stuff.
Jeez.
Whoa.
So we're talking at least a few solid months of gameplay without paying a dime to be able to unlock the most expensive characters. or $2,560 out of the gate to be able to just buy everything, which is
I like that
bonkers.
your thought was expensive. I like not the two most memorable characters from the Star Wars franchise, but rather the two more expensive ones.
The two most expensive. Well, like my thing is like you also have
Nobody gets them.
Han Solo and Han Solo.
Yeah, but he's dead now.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Or is he? Potential spoiler
Dun, dun,
alert.
dun.
Yeah, he's totally
Oh,
dead.
he is. Yeah.
He's
I don't know.
super dead.
They found that lightsaber in the bottom of an air shaft. Maybe they found his dead corpse at the bottom of an air shaft.
I'm just waiting for them to find Mace Windu's dead corpse in the bottom of an air shaft.
Yeah, it's called Supreme Leader Snoke. But that's not. We're not here to talk about Star Wars. We're here to talk about pay-to-play gaming structure.
You
So
started it.
you started it. So the game was released on November 7th. They had terrible Black Friday sales, and they've come out and said, "Hey, microtransactions are gone." And like the people at EA are trying to backpedal and say, like, we've really learned a lot about the microtransaction structure, and it's not something that we're going away with completely. Microtransactions are gone from Battlefront 2, but we're still going to try and pursue it as a structure in other future titles. Meaning they're going to come back with other microtransaction sales or titles to try and up their sales. To give everybody a quick point of reference on how exactly it impacts their sales. Last year, Microsports EA Chief Financial Officer Blake Jorgensen told investors in February that last year microtransactions generated $800 million
Ay, caramba.
in sales, and that's margin. That's margin. That's not actual sales. That's how much money they made off of sales. So it's insane to see.
I just got fighting mad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. I like
Fighting mad.
Like if somebody, one of them would just showed up in my house, I would have thrown something at them.
Yeah, that's pure profit. $800 million in pure profit based solely on micro sales in 2016. That's bonkers. And with the sales that that Battlefront 2 was expected to hit, that they have totally not hit, despite still being on the top 100 games of the year list from Amazon, which it's 100 games. I feel like that's a pretty easy list to make.
Whoa, game shaming.
Game shaming. List shaming.
Holy crap.
But
sorry,
they're still on the list. They're still on the list. So they're doing well. They're just 61% lower than the original. So my thing is, when it comes, for me personally, and we'll pass this around, but for me personally, I like the pay to play games, but I very rarely actually pay to play, and then I get bored with them and stop playing because the structure revolves around farming, essentially,
Right.
and it just gets really boring and tired, and that's where the microtransaction comes in. It's like you get bored with it, you pay $5, and you can unlock that thing that you would have had to work a week and a half to unlock. But I hate that.
As a total of all mobile phone games, I have only spent money on one. And then most of that money
Was it War of Heroes?
No, actually, it's actually also related to What's My Jam. It's the WWE Champions game.
Of course it is.
Well, it's like you know, it's like Candy Crush, but you know how like in Candy Crush when you're playing those stupid games like that, you have to keep on making more and more levels, and eventually you have to just start buying stuff in order for you to even keep playing because the levels get too hard. Does not happen in the WWE game. It doesn't happen in that WWE. Well, most of those like pay to play games, they get to a point where you pretty much have to pay in order for you to even start to see progress.
Right.
WWE game doesn't do that because they also do like daily and weekly things that you can just play all the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes
but
sense.
That's like so far. But yeah, that's the only the only game I've ever played that pay to play is something that I actually would do, as opposed to all the other ones where they're just trying to get you to pay more money so they can just like pigeonhole you in.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've seen. Like, I mean, we played Marvel War of Heroes, which was a trading card game, and we all played it religiously, and it was a good time. It was good fun. And then
sacrilegiously, mind you,
sacrilegiously, we played it a lot. And I mean, I spent money on that game. It was a fun game, and I enjoyed like the community aspect of having a I don't remember what it was called, a clan, the
alliance, I think,
alliance that we were
Guild.
that we were in.
So yeah.
And it was all friends that we had like in person. So it wasn't like a bunch of random people. I mean, it was a lot of random people, but there were 5 or 6 of us that like we would all go to Michael's house and hang out, and we would battle while we were there. It was a good time. And then like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
Woo!
Same concept. I mean, we had a guild or whatever it was called in that game, and like Masterman Drabo, myself, Outlaw, we all played together. And that was kind of the same thing, is you had that community aspect. So I didn't mind paying like a couple bucks here and there. But between the two, I wouldn't say that I spent more than $50 to
You say
play
between
it.
the cons?
Between the cons. I wouldn't say I spent more than $50 to play them, and that's still coming in at like pretty decent, $25 a game to play it, and I played both of them for like a year plus. So
that's 25,000% more than you paid to download the game.
right.
Yep.
That is accurate. But it was, I mean, it was a good time. It was fun. But there are a lot of games that I don't pay to play. And there are games where if I have to pay to play to succeed, I delete them, because it's like, I want a game that's fun to play. I don't want to have to pay for a game that says it's free.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean,
that
seems to be, and I mean, we talked about Galaxy of Heroes, I think, for the first time on the podcast when Underhill was on.
Yep.
Forever and a half ago, and we talked about little purple gems or whatever.
Right.
But that's something that I find insane about, especially mobile gaming, PvP, is that you like, if you don't know what's happening before you get in the game, like say it's your first game, you will absolutely ruin your chances of getting anything good, and then you'll almost be pushed into a corner where you feel like you're forced to pay money. I've paid money for mobile games, but I don't have a gaming console. You know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
my gaming console is stuff that I carry around on my phone. Like, so when the Injustice Partner app came out the first time around, there were a couple things that I paid money for. It was like, you know, nothing more than like $15 altogether probably. But it's, you know, it's something that helps move the game along, and I think there's probably a stigma about that. About people who pay stuff on their phone, and certainly there are those horror stories of children paying, like stealing their parents' credit card on accident and paying for a bunch of stuff. And then also there's there's a legitimacy thing. Like, it's not going to be and I forget what the big competition, like Steam competitions or whatever. Yeah. It's nothing like that. You know, obviously nobody. Well, I guess Summoner's War now is one of those competition games, but you know, what Puzzle Fighter is never going to be one of those games where, you know, I'm top ranked in Puzzle Fighter. It's like, cool man. Well, this is a lawyer's office. You can go to the candy store or whatever, and you know, people kind of treat it that way. But I mean, if that's how we're relaxing, like, why should you not want to pay a little bit of money to keep it going? And that's, you know, War of Heroes. I paid a little bit of money also, probably too much money on that game, honestly. And then Galaxy of Heroes, I never paid anything because speaking of Han Solo, who is my end all be all, when they introduced that character for the game, it was like I read a forum where they crunched the numbers, and you were gonna have to spend something like $2,500 just to even come close to getting Han Solo. Well, when he first came out, and
that was like, another EA title. Just for the record.
Yeah, no, it totally was, and that was that was kind of when I said goodbye to Galaxy of Heroes, because it's like, well, if I can't get my favorite character, I don't want to play your game anymore.
Yeah. And that's the one thing. Like, there are games that are made for mobile that are not pay to play structure, that are great games. Like,
sure,
I remember when the first iPhone came out that had like solid video ability. Video ability.
Coined it.
They had this game called Infinity Sword. And Infinity Sword was $9.99. And I think there have been 3 since then. And I've played all 3 of them. And I have paid $30 total for those games. And they're excellent games, like hours of good times to be had with the Infinity Sword games. And you pay one time up front, and you don't pay anything else. You're not even asked if you would like to pay for anything else.
I actually can't think of any mobile game I've ever actually bought.
Well, and that's another thing that I think is funny. Like, people will get down and they'll get invested in these free games from the App Store, and then they start paying for it, and then they're downing people who pay for games. I hear it, especially at Mello, because we got a bunch of like, stoner whatever. But they like down people for paying for games. It's like, dude, you told me last week how you dropped $30 on this game that you're playing. He goes, yeah, but that was a free game. It's like, well, he paid $6 flat, and he's set. He doesn't have to pay any more.
Right.
Well, so who's the idiot? Who's the idiot? Scott. You're the idiot, Scott.
I mean, my girlfriend, like, we're talking about this right now, and I completely like spaced out. My girlfriend, her stepdad has spent $10,000 on the Walking Dead mobile game.
Whoa.
That is insane.
Like, probably even more than that.
That is nuts.
But yeah, like,
excuse me?
Like, I'm pretty sure that's why they're getting divorced. Like,
I was gonna say, gosh. Can you ask him to give me like $2,800? Like, that's.
I'm pretty sure you can't now, because the rest of that money is gonna go towards paying for his divorce.
Yeah, paying for the divorce and tuitions forever.
But like, man, yeah, it's insane. Like, I think what really gets me is that people want to complain about the games that are that pay-to-play structure. And honestly, it's an issue that I've had with everyone in the world in general, is that like there might be a problem that you have with one thing, but then something else could be similar to it, but not even the same thing, and you still want to complain like it's the same.
Right.
Like,
for sure.
Like, people, like, okay, like a general good complaint is, for example, Battlefront 2. People were complaining about Battlefront 2 because they made you basically pay to play. Because not only could you pay to unlock Luke or Vader, you could also pay to get like character boosting cards. So you could literally start the game out with the best stuff you could possibly get up to a certain point, besides making it yourself.
Right.
And like, so that's like an honest to God thing that you should be upset about. But then you'll get people, and because I'm in a part of multiple subreddits, like, you'll get people who are mad about Overwatch or mad about Destiny or mad about Injustice because they have like color packs or character packs or things that have to be bought to unlock. You can either unlock it through time or you can unlock it for paying it. And they want to have an attitude about unlocking it, about the ability to unlock it by paying for it. It's like, dude, you don't have to spend that money.
Right.
You don't have to spend $30 just so you can have a black and gold armored Batman. Like, you can just play the game long enough to just buy it in game.
Absolutely. And I don't really want to reinforce the stereotype that like people who play video games and stuff like live in their mom's basement or anything. But those people live in their mom's basement. Like the people that are complaining about stuff like that. And I've always thought that it's either like kids who don't have any money and they don't know how to like mow grass, I guess. And then or like people that are like, well, down at GameStop GameStop. Kevin told me that there was a RIP package you could get off Pirate Bay. It's like, why don't you shut up, dude? Like, if you want it, what kind of life are you living where you think we don't live in some sort of society that costs money? Like,
I think like my favorite argument is that when people get mad about a game comes out and then they already have the DLC planned out, and it's like, yeah, do you not know how games work? Like, you think it takes them like 5 years to make a game? Do you think in that 5 years they weren't planning on expanding the game? Of course, like
right,
like what was it? Like Injustice like wasn't out yet, and they announced the first DLC characters, and everyone's like, "They're getting these characters made. They're just keeping them from us to make us pay more money." It's like,
yeah,
like seriously.
So I'm gonna take that and run with it for a second. One of the other things that I think is the killer for me is when you pay $60 for a console game, and then it's built on a pay to play microtransaction structure. I hate that. I don't like it because I already paid $60 for your game. The other thing that I hate is I look back at games like Left 4 Dead when it comes to DLC. DLC now, you get stupid crap. And you get another maybe 4 hours of gameplay.
Maybe not stupid. Let's maybe say insignificant.
Insignificant. You get a little bit of extra gameplay, like Dishonored. When Dishonored came out, it had 3 DLCs and DLC packs, and they were all like an afternoon.
Did people play that game?
It was Game of the Year. So yes, people played it.
I played one.
They didn't have it on the phone, so I didn't know.
Yeah, people played it. But when Dishonored, the first one came out, I haven't played the second one, but when the first one came out, the DLC was like a couple extra hours. When Left 4 Dead came out, the first one and the second one, when you bought a $9.99 DLC pack, you got the same amount of content as the $60 game that you bought. And that's one thing that for me is becoming harder and harder to be able to justify. And it's honestly the thing that's pulling me further and further away from console gaming is when I buy a game and you like hide part of the game in your pocket and you won't give it to me unless I give you $20 to finish the primary game. Right. Like, I don't want your game.
Yeah, like, if you can't finish the primary storyline of a game without buying DLC, you need to get out of my face.
Right, exactly. And there's so many games that are built with that structure.
Yeah, like, I mean, even Destiny, like, I love playing Destiny, but when they add, like their DLC packs don't add as much. They add a lot more weapons, and they add, like, level caps and light level caps, but, like, the main they add to it can be beaten in, like, probably, like, one sitting. Like, it might be 4 to 5 hours of gameplay, and then you're just back to the normal in-game grinding again.
Exactly. And to put a number on it, DLC, the most expensive DLC package for any game to include all DLC was Rock Band. Rock Band came out in like 2007, and they added new songs every week for 6 years.
I dropped, without a doubt, probably $200 on new songs.
$9,150.10 US would buy you all of the downloadable content.
Yeah.
Yes, US dollars.
Well, we also, and if you think about that, though, that's like full albums from different bands.
Yeah, and it's thousands, tens of thousands of songs.
Like, so, you literally could play every song in the game for probably a full, like, 3 to 4 months.
If not longer.
Yeah. Right.
Like, if your 12-hour-a-day job is to play Rock Band, you might be able to get it done in 3 to 4 months.
Kind of a dude.
Yeah. I forgot. I think it's like a full, like, half a day on Rock Band, one of the Rock Band games. It's like a full half a day to do the non-stop playlist.
Yeah. There are 2,000 songs, almost 2,100 songs that you can play in Rock Band if you had all of the downloadable content.
I mean, just think of how many like just from the first four games of having it.
And
that's insane.
That's a lot.
Because I mean, that's the other thing. If you think about it, in like once every Rock Band came out, every time the next one came out, they allowed you to put a code in, and you get to download all the songs from your first game, from like the last game on there. So like when I got Rock Band 3, I had all like 70 songs from Rock Band 2 and 1 on there.
Right. And I mean, there were a ton of songs, and the DLC was like $1.99, and you would get a handful more songs.
Mm-hmm.
It was like buying a single like EP on iTunes, but you could play.
So you get to play it.
Right. So it was a lot, but it was more manageable, and it extended your gameplay. Whereas DLC now, like, you buy a DLC pack and you get, like, I just think in FPS games, because that's most of what I actually bought DLC for, with the exception of Left 4 Dead. But you get like 1 or 2 maps and like a golden gun for $20. And the maps you could only play in multiplayer mode, which required on Xbox One or Xbox at all, requires an additional $60 a year on top of the $60 that you paid for the game, on top of the $80 that you wind up paying for all 4 DLC packs.
Yeah.
So it's a money monster.
I mean, yeah, like I own, I have PlayStation Plus. That's $60 a year. I bought Destiny with the expansion, and that was $100.
Jesus. I mean,
yeah, but Destiny, the gameplay for Destiny is insane. Like the hours that you have to put into Destiny just to complete like the primary storyline is very long. So I would say if you're into that sort of game, sure, it would be worth it. But then to counter this and to bring it back to something that has been very, very strong in my heart lately is Wolfenstein. I bought Wolfenstein The New Order when I first bought my Xbox One. I did not play Wolfenstein The New Order until about 2 months ago. And Wolfenstein does not have a multiplayer mode. Or Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus that just came out, does not have a multiplayer mode. Because the developers did not want to ruin the story. There is no DLC. There's no extra stuff that you buy. You pay $60 for a game, and you get a 9.8 at GameStop and IGN rated game. You get a stellar, top-of-the-line game for $60, and that's all you have to pay. And I don't understand why we have so few of those games.
It's really down to the publishers.
Right. I mean, it is the money monster. I know why. It's so people can continue to profit off of it. But for me, as a consumer, as someone that does not play multiplayer at all anymore, I don't care about your $20 DLC maps because I'm not using them, because I'm playing the story mode and that's it.
Kind of like how with Grand Theft Auto, they like stopped. They were originally gonna make a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of DLC, but they never did for single player. Like all their DLC ended up becoming multiplayer because that's all anyone was playing.
Well, and I feel like that one's a little bit different.
Yeah, because in the case of Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto Online, all their DLC has been free. Like
and
Grand Theft Auto Online.
I feel like the game style of Grand Theft Auto lends itself more to a multiplayer open world online environment.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing Grand Theft Auto, you're playing the story to maybe 10%. And then you're just blowing everything up and calling in helicopters and like jumping off of buildings and shooting people in the street. Like that's what you're doing.
Apparently, I'm
with
the only
Grand Theft
person
Auto.
that doesn't play Grand Theft Auto like a dang psychopath. I feel like I'm the only person that does it. Like I do missions and stuff, and then like I don't go on murder sprees in Grand Theft Auto. Apparently, I'm the only person that does it.
Well, there was a game called The Saboteur, which was basically Grand Theft Auto in World War II France, and I loved that game. And I was very much in the same boat as you. Like, I played that game. I played the storyline. I'm a completionist when it comes to those kinds of games. So I played every side mission. I played everything. I completed the game 100%. And then I never picked it up again. And
so wait, you can do stuff other than just mow down hookers and Grand Theft Auto?
Absolutely.
Yes, you can.
I didn't know that.
See, the thing
I
is,
thought that's what all the games were. Just mowing down hookers and stealing their money.
Are you I'm sorry, are you a parent from the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Just making sure.
Yeah. He's 17.
Can you tell
Honestly,
us about
though-
the problems that you have with Dead Space as well?
Yeah. And after that, I'd like to go on a short dissertation of what Marilyn Manson did for
His hand in the
Columbine.
In Columbine. There you go.
But actually, what's funny is I was just saying, like, I only play Grand Theft Auto like normally, and I go crazy.
Right.
But if I'm playing Saints Row, it's the exact opposite.
Right, but that style of
because-
game lends itself so easily to that style of gameplay in an
Yeah, I mean,
online multiplayer environment.
Yeah, like in Grand Theft Auto, you want to go punch somebody, you can just punch them in the face. In Saints Row, if you want to punch somebody, you can do a backflip into a facebuster slam, and then pose like you're on a Sports Illustrated cover, because
Right.
that's something that happens in that game.
Right,
You can
and
also
I think
flying
that,
drop kick people out of cars.
I think that with that you have like the fun that started to come out during like Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City was you could do that. And back then there were cheat codes and there was all this cool stuff that you could do. And then it became a thing where like you walk up to a stranger and try and steal his car. In single player, you just steal his car. There's no fight that happens. But in multiplayer, you try and steal somebody's car, they can shoot you because you're stealing it from another player. And then
Yeah, I think my favorite thing is in 5, people will try and fight you. Like later on, they added the ability they fight you for it.
yeah, but I think that's one of the reasons that it's it's a game that it's easier to concentrate on multiplayer. And I mean things like first person shooters, I mean that's what esports was born around, was first person shooters. Halo, Call of Duty. So of course multiplayer is going to have more of the concentration. But like the zombies, Call of Duty, what was it? World at War was the first game to have zombies, I think. And that was a huge hit. And now they've had a zombie spin-off game, or mini game, excuse me, within each Call of Duty game since then. And that's one of the big things that they love to do. And then my favorite thing was in Call of Duty games, they had, I think it was called Spec Ops. And it was a two-player mode, and you would play just specific operations from the campaign together, and it was like level-based. So you had like level 1, 2, and 3, and level 3 was crazy and impossible to beat. But it was just a fun way to like, hey, I'm good at sniping, and this guy's good at like kicking doors down with a shotgun. So we're going to play this Spec Ops and try and beat the hardest level. And they don't have that kind of stuff anymore. And for me, it's more fun to play online or to play multiplayer in person. Whereas online, when I have to pay for a subscription to Xbox Live and then pay for all of the DLC just so I don't get booted from a room when it's one of the maps that I don't own, and then try and get matched into another room, hopefully with one of the maps that I do own. Like it's just too much to keep up with, and that's from a console gaming standpoint. That's why I don't like the pay to play structure, is because it's too much money spent just to be able to play.
Yeah, I think the big thing, like I was saying earlier, was the whole, like, I think what I was talking about, the whole ideal from people getting that whole they're selling us an incomplete game thing. like EA is bad for it, but also who's not just as bad is Capcom. Because back when Street Fighter Cross Tekken came out, there were like a bunch of DLC costumes and a bunch of DLC characters that were coming out down the pipeline. However, once they released the PC version, everyone found out that they weren't releasing a bunch of DLC characters down the pipeline. They were basically locking all of them behind a paywall and then making you pay for them over different time periods.
Right.
Yeah.
See, it's that kind of stuff that's super messed up.
Yeah, so like basically, yeah, everyone found out basically all the DLC characters that they were going to release were already on the disc themselves, and you had to pay to unlock them off the disc.
Which is insane.
That's insane! Like everyone was in shock that they even were going to try that.
Yeah,
and
but
yeah, sure enough, that game's sales tanked, and we haven't seen Tekken Cross Street Fighter yet.
My thing about it, and this is the last thing that I'm gonna just touch on, is when you pay to play a game, you should be able, when you pay, it should enhance the gaming experience outside of something that you can own in the game. Like,
yeah, like if
Gears of War.
If you're paying for
Gears of War is my favorite game of all time. It's the reason I own an Xbox. And the downloadable content is like stuff. Like you pay to get characters and skins for your guns and other stuff like that. You don't pay, like, you're not enhancing the experience. You're making your character look different.
Like you're not, yeah, like people, and then like there'll be people who complain about that, but the fact of the matter is they're trying to complain about it even though they don't have to buy it.
Right. And like
if you're gonna pay for anything in a game, it should be something that you don't have to buy.
Right. And like just going back to Left 4 Dead, because in my opinion, it is the best example of a positive consumer-focused DLC experience. Is you buy a $20 DLC or a $10 DLC, and you get an entire new campaign to run through, and you get new characters to run through, and you get so much more to the game. I mean, Left 4 Dead 1 had 2 additional games, essentially, release as DLC.
Yeah, like the thing with Left 4 Dead was like they had only 4 levels, but each level in itself was 4 chapters.
Right.
So when the DLC came out, you were getting another 4-level chapter.
Yeah.
Every time.
Exactly. And Left 4 Dead 2 did the same thing. And then the one thing that I thought was awesome about Left 4 Dead 2 is the 3rd DLC that they released was Left 4 Dead 1, the main game from Left 4 Dead 1, and you could be like, it just looked better because there was so much time between those 2 releases that it was like a totally different game to play.
Yeah.
Right.
And you could put in the Left 4 Dead 2 game, invite a couple buddies over, and if they wanted to play Left 4 Dead 1, you have that game within Left 4 Dead 2.
Right. And then you get to use the all the other cool stuff, like the melee weapons, which weren't available in the first.
Exactly.
You got to play against the other kind of special zombies or whatever. And that's the thing, I think, when we are getting into the jurisdiction of did you hear me pipe up now that we're talking about the one game on Xbox?
The one console game that you actually played?
Yeah, I've played others, okay, just not recently, and that makes me like a dinosaur or an old rock. So I think when we start getting into the jurisdiction of these newer titles and these newer games, and people seeing how well things can go when they do offer things for sale, because the downloadable content for Left 4 Dead cost, guess what, money, but it was so inclusive and it had so much going on that people didn't mind playing. So you pay this kind of bigger.
You got what you paid for.
Sure. No, for sure.
Yeah, you got a lot of worth out of that.
Yeah, you get kind of this bigger price, and then you get a ton of stuff, and it's great. And now what they want to do is they're like, well, do you like the shoes that Francis is wearing? Because you could have red Converses, and that'll be $38. It's like, whoa, what? I don't want to pay $38 for shoes.
You could have.
I don't want to pay $38 for shoes in real life. That's how much my actual shoes cost. I don't want to pay for. And I think that's kind of, you know, and obviously we're chasing an argument of elites and the almighty dollar and what have you.
Much.
But it's, you know, if I would not say that they owe it to anyone, because the people that play video games are no longer the target audience for video games, because they already have consoles, they already have video games, they're already used to spending the money. But I think maybe the approach could be more streamlined if they are trying to bring in new. That's always the big focus, right? Is bring in new customers, bring in people who with more wallets, you know. And I think if we did take, I'm gonna make a video game. I think if they did take this kind of this stance that said, we will give you this much stuff. Let's, like red package, green package, blue package. Red package has this much stuff. It's $30. Yeah. And then you get all this stuff. People would love it. And not to mention that, but like you were saying, the sales for Battlefront 2 went down by 60 some odd %. So like knock $10 off the game. And then
exactly,
knock $10 off the game, because even if people are paying $2,500 or whatever insane thing you just said, like $10 off the physical copy of the game will convince people to buy it.
Oh, and for sure.
I don't think we should have like a marketing strategy for EA or anything, but it's
a strategy session.
Yeah, it just seems like the way they're going about it is like so obviously like money grubbing and miserly,
right?
That it's apparent to the consumer, and you see that. And I talked about Street Fighter Puzzle Fighter a second ago. I sure did. There are things in that game that because I'm playing that currently.
I'm so disappointed in you.
Well, it was at the behest of the same Scott from the earlier. Like, hey man, you need to play this. It's like, all right.
That sounds stupid. This is so much fun.
No, it is. It's awful. It's a terrible game, and I can't wait to delete it. But it'll take 2 weeks for me to get tired of it. So that's how that works. But they have that option, like I was scrolling through to see like what you could pay your little gems, which are like your alpha currency on the game.
Right. Because
that's how those games work, right? Like alpha, beta, and delta currencies, right?
Right.
If we may, I don't know what the actual coin term is for that stuff, but so the alpha currency stuff, it's like, yeah, you can get Ryu, and he doesn't have a shirt on, and he has a goatee, and I'm like, why would I ever want that? Why would I ever want Ryu in anything but classic Ryu outfit?
Oh, do you not know? The internet blew up when Street Fighter V came out, and the pre-order bonus was bearded Hot Ryu. Like that's what they called him. He was called Hot Ryu. Like everyone was about it, and he became like a huge deal. So now that's why they said, hey, if you want Ryu, you can get Hot Ryu now.
Great.
Cool. I was kind of thinking I would just not be a weird, like, why do we have to sexualize all of our cartoon idols? Anyway.
Well, on that note, all in all, pay to play. If the juice is worth the squeeze, we're in.
You say that slower and sexier.
Do not.
Please don't. If we feel like we're getting our money's worth, it's worth it. If we feel like we're getting burned and we're being like we're just having our wallet stolen at the expense of this game, then it's not worth it. Which is pretty much where we just landed, right?
Yeah, I think
fair
so.
Summary. Okay. So what do you guys think? Listenership. Let us know what your thoughts are on pay to play. If you have differing thoughts, what games you've paid to play, hit us up on the internet. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on all of those at Between the Cons. Now, it's everyone's favorite time where you get to hear about all the stuff that we like. So let's talk about our jams.
What's your jam?
All right, Dane, what's your jam?
Wrestling.
Are you going to talk about that stupid game again?
No, actually, no. Like, legit. That's kind of what started it. Also, the YouTube channel Up, Up, Down, Down.
What is that?
So, Up, Up, Down, Down is a channel run by Austin Watson. He goes by Austin Creed on the channel, but he wrestles as Xavier Woods as a part of the New Day.
Okay.
And basically, it's just a video game channel where he and all the other WWE superstars all hang out backstage playing video games.
Oh
They do
gosh.
tournaments. Yeah, they do tournaments and stuff. I did one episode where like Bailey and Sasha played Mortal Kombat, and whoever lost had to eat a habanero pepper with like habanero hot sauce on top of it.
Oh my gosh.
They did one where like
Sounds like torture.
one of the Steamsters had to play one of the Usos in UFC, and he lost, so he had to do the cinnamon challenge.
Oh.
But yeah, he hangs out, he plays games. He's gotten super popular. Like when it first started, he was just doing it on his own, but now he's got like over 1 million subscribers. So like WWE actually helps promote it. Like if you go, their outfits that they wear now are Up, Up, Down, Down themed.
That's
They even
insane.
have Up, Up, Down. They even have Up, Up, Down, Down themed shirts. Seth Rollins has been on the show so many times, and
I don't know who that is.
he's one of the big stars right now.
Like wrestling.
Yeah.
related
wrestling
to
stars?
Henry Rollins or
No, but Rollins is that's where he got his stage name from, because he was like a hardcore kid.
cool. It's a big
Yeah.
black flag fan.
Yeah, like he even used to I saw like his old matches when he first came out, and he legit hardcore danced as he came out to psych himself up.
Well, that's
I wish-
something I heard.
I wish I
today.
was making. Yeah, but no, man, I've gotten back into wrestling. I've been watching it nonstop. I've been watching it religiously. Survivor Series was like 2 weeks ago, and that was awesome. Me and my girlfriend both have wrestling shirts now. We're planning on getting tickets to WrestleMania and going.
Oh my god.
Dude, you have we're in it. Like I'm walling it, dude. Like, and I was discussing with it with like some other people. We were talking about like when you're an adult watching wrestling, it's like it's fake, whatever. It's all fake. Cool, whatever. It's not what we're watching it for. We're watching it because we're trying to see if we're convinced.
Prove it.
We're watching to see if we're buying what you're selling. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, at Survivor Series, one of the big matches of that night was AJ Styles, who's like veteran of the wrestling game, and Brock Lesnar, who is just a monster. And not only was he been wrestling champion, he's a UFC champion too. Like, he was a WWE wrestler, quit to go play football, got cut in his first season with the Vikings, went to UFC, won the championship, then came back and went back to wrestling.
How is he so
There was
big?
so much information in that I am trying to process right now.
That man is just a giant slab of meat, and everyone was excited because they knew everyone knew who was going to win the match. Like, because they predetermined it. And it was like, Brock's going to win this match, but AJ is going to give us a match.
He is.
Be
Brock
entertaining.
Lesnar is 6'3", 265 pounds, and he is just all muscle.
Yeah, he is a creature of a man.
It can't be all muscle.
No, he has
He
no
has-
bones.
That
It is
excludes
just-
organs and other tissues. That
He
suplex,
is all 100% muscle.
his catchphrase is suplex sitting.
Oh my gosh.
The reason for it was because at WrestleMania, I want to say 2 years ago, he had a match with Roman Reigns, and in the first half of the match, he suplexed Roman Reigns 10 times.
holy
Good
cow.
grief.
You can watch, just type in Suplex City on YouTube and watch him do it. Like, he just gets wrecked, and you're just watching. Like that was the thing. Like the Brock Lesnar AJ Styles fight, AJ gets him in his like submission move, and Brock Lesnar was selling it. Like he looked like he was about to tap out of the move until he grabs AJ Lesnar and starts slamming AJ Styles, and starts slamming his head on the mat repeatedly.
I'm watching it right now.
Another fun thing about wrestling is sometimes you play the game of, okay, how did they fake that? Because he looked like he might have actually dislocated his shoulder.
This is a big guy.
Yeah, he's huge. And like the thing with wrestlers is some of them are like look small, and then you see him next to normal people. You're like, oh.
No, he's actually a giant.
Like the one person like I'm afraid of me. Like if we go to WrestleMania, I'm thinking to myself, if I get the chance to meet Braun Strowman in person, I'm going to poop my pants.
Yeah, he looks like a big guy.
Braun Strowman is terrifying. Like I watched like at Survivor Series, Triple H like betrayed him in a pseudo kind of betrayal way, and Triple H and he just straight up picked up Triple H with one hand and just started choking him like in the ring. I was like, is he not choking him like fake? Because it looks like he's actually choking him.
I'm gonna be completely honest for a second. I'm really disappointed that we're still talking about wrestling.
Are you disappointed, or are you like me, where I'm like, wow, how are we still like I'm intrigued by it? How are we still? I
am disappointed and intrigued.
I will say, being suplexed 10 times in a row, I don't care how fake wrestling is, you still got to take those falls, and that
cannot feel good.
Because I used to teach combat for stage, so it was like it hurts my body to hear that he took 10 suplex falls in judo right on the flat of the back. That sounds awful.
So what's your jam, Steven?
In theater, it's called a fall. In wrestling, it's called a bump.
Well, we call it. Yeah, I mean, there are a few names for it, but if you are taking a hit like that, it still hurts.
Yeah. God, yeah.
God. I can't proceed. I have to go to the chiropractor.
Well, before you do that, what is your jam?
Already there. I'm already at the chiropractor. I don't know. I guess it would be obvious to say that my current jam is Capcom's Puzzle Fighter, but no, I've been and I hope it's not stealing or ruining anything, but I've been playing the Magic Duels game pretty hard.
Yep.
Has that been what you're jammed already?
It was about to be.
Ha ha ha! You suck.
Whoa. Whoa.
Hey, come on. That was in jest. I don't think you suck.
He's angry.
You have a wonderful facility here at Between the Cons Labs.
BTC Labs.
Inc. Yeah, dude, Magic Duels all the way. Magic Duels. And then my other jam is what I got you for Christmas.
Well, Magic Duels, hold on. Magic Duels is Magic the Gathering. Well,
why don't you talk about
game.
it, man? I'm just going to piggyback off you.
You already
started. And then are you just breezing over that I told you what you got for Christmas?
All you said was, my other jam is what I got you for Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm glazing over that because that is a huge tease and I hate it.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. You're really going to love it.
Great.
For those of you that don't know, me and Chris will be celebrating Christmas tomorrow, right? This episode comes out on Thursday, right?
No, this one comes out on Monday. So we will have already celebrated Christmas by this point.
Oh, man. Oh, the suspense must be killing you in backwards time.
And on the last episode, we just talked about the space-time continuum and how podcasts are made. So.
Oh, man, that's so great. So can I tell them what you got for Christmas?
No, because I still have to edit the podcast.
You can't spoil it for
I still have to go back and listen to the whole show when I edit.
If I tell them what you got for Christmas in the future, then you can't possibly know now.
That is not how it works.
That's not how it works.
I got him a toaster. It's a toaster.
It is a sandwich toaster, so you can make a grilled cheese in the toaster.
It's
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a real
it's a
thing.
really sweet
Google it.
toaster.
Well, anyways,
Magic Duels is Magic the Gathering on your cell phone, and you don't have to pay the thousands of dollars that you would to make the deck that you would want to make in real life. You can just fake it, and it's wonderful.
it's super fun. It is. Steven has been trying to get me to play it for like 2 months, and I finally downloaded it over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend.
Oh, baby.
And I played for probably 6 or 7 hours.
No way, 6 or 7 hours? That means you had to charge your phone like 5 times.
Well, I played on my iPad, and I kept it plugged in.
Yeah, buyer beware. The Magic Duels app will murder your phone
Yeah,
battery.
I played for 20 minutes on my phone and lost 35% battery.
No,
It's
I'll wake
crazy.
up I will wake up in the morning before work, and I'll play for 30 minutes, and I have to bring a charger to work. It's insane.
Yeah, but it's a
I'll
lot
be
of
down
fun.
to 50%.
It's a lot of fun.
I don't know, man. It's like Snapchat.
Yeah.
Except
Oh,
Snapchat
oh,
doesn't
oh.
let you. Snapchat doesn't let you breed counters so that you can overcome the rally army that is the opposite team.
Fair point, but I was really just getting at it takes a lot of battery life.
Man, I don't know anything about Snapchat. All I know is about that dumb girl that you always talk about.
Oh god, let's not talk about her.
Can we make her Between the Cons famous? No, we shouldn't because she's super.
Can we not? I mean, she's already
Yes.
Jerry Springer famous.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we're going to talk
if
about
you
this
wanna-
off the air.
If you want to know what that is, message one of us privately on Twitter.
Or on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah. do
Or on
that.
Snapchat, because Dane is supposed to be running the Between the Cons Snapchat.
Have y'all never been on that
Yes!
Between the Cons? Have y'all been on that Between the Cons Snapchat?
I don't think Dane
No,
has been on the Between the Cons Snapchat.
I haven't been on the Between the Cons Snapchat since I started it, which was at New Orleans Comic Con, which I will be doing again.
Hey,
Here in a few short
Dane,
months.
I meant to ask: are we supposed to call it Black Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. As long as you're okay with it, I'm okay with it.
So,
Well, you know why it's called that, right?
What?
You know why it's called that, right?
I don't know, but anything I say is gonna sound weird or racist. So why don't you just tell me?
Just real quick. Whenever stores had their ledgers, they checked to see if they had made money, and that's when they were in the black, or if they didn't make money, they were in the red. So this day, when a lot of people make a lot more money than usual, they call it Black Friday because all the stores are going to be in the black because they all made profits.
interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's because the mall.
It's full of black people wanting sales.
I couldn't do it. I'm glad you
Oh
did it.
my
I always get mad when I see videos of people like trampling each other. I'm like, where was this at? I was at Best Buy in Spanish Fort, Alabama, and we had a nice line.
Yeah, because you were in Spanish Fort.
Like, I've gone to places and been in giant busy businesses, and everyone's just like chilling. We got to GameStop at 4:00 when they opened, and we were in line for all of 2 seconds before they immediately opened the doors, and we all just walked around buying everything.
That's crazy. Do you guys know how they say Spanish fort in Spanish? It's Español fort.
I think it means Saint Diego. Anyways, so to bring this episode to a close, my jam, since no one wants to ask me,
Hey, Chris.
What's
What kind of jam do you like?
I've been really on a red raspberry kick lately.
Wait, like the Faygo?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
No.
Red
Yeah.
Pop. That's
Red
Red
Pop.
Pop. That's my bad.
No, so my jam, I recently just submitted a handful of comics to the CGC, the Certified Guarantee Company. You guys know, but for the listeners, I've been collecting for a lot of years, and I had a few that have been tagged in my collection to send off to the CGC for a long time, and finally I just decided to bite the bullet and did it. I signed up for premium membership, which costs $150, but you get a $150 credit to submit comics. So I submitted 6 comics over the weekend for grading. So hopefully I'll be getting
What'd you
those,
send?
getting
What'd you
those back
send?
in the next
What'd you do?
month or so.
Tell me what you sent.
I will tell you what I sent.
Tell me.
I sent off a
Oh
copy.
my god.
I sent off a copy of Deadpool #1. Spider-Man Marvel Collectible Classics, Spider-Man 300. Uncanny X-Men Marvel Collectible Classics number 2. Universe X Spidey, which, fun fact, due to the Sheriff Steve Sr. Being in the Marvel Comics business when that was released, I actually have a, because he brought it home, a unreleased copy of a slanderous artwork from Universe X Spidey. So I sent that off. So that'll be.
Is that what that is?
That'll be super fun.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I have that that I sent off. I also sent off Spider-Man 700 and Spider-Man 400. 700 was the final issue in the Amazing Spider-Man run for the first series, and my brother, for my birthday.
It was Christmas.
For Christmas, not Spider-Man 44.
Oh, okay.
It was for my birthday. Got me issue 700 of the Amazing Spider-Man, and it is the anniversary variant. So it has every writer and artist.
Oh, yeah, that one's cool.
Every writer and artist that has ever worked on the Amazing Spider-Man, making like their names, making the New York City skyline, which is super neat. So I sent those off. I mean,
it's no Ditko re-release, but
right.
I tried. Mama tried for that one, baby.
But yeah, everything I sent off, there wasn't a single book that I sent off that originally ran with more than 3,000 copies. So
I would have had to buy 100. It was something like 150 comic books to get you that comic book.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Really trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, that was the Amazing Spider-Man 15, right?
Amazing Fantasy 15.
Amazing Fantasy 15, like reprint for the 700 cover.
And then didn't Ditko die like right after that? Or did he die years ago? What am I doing? No, he is still alive. Never mind.
Yeah, he is that.
He's 90. Whoa.
Yeah, Stan Lee is 96.
That's crazy. So they like get together and talk about World War II.
94. Stan Lee is 94. His 95th birthday is 3 days after Christmas.
Remember when we were 15 and World War II was happening? Holy cow.
Stanley is like literally it's just like they hang out together and it's just like just standing in a museum.
But yeah, that's my jam. I think those are all the books that I sent.
Man,
Deadpool, Spider-Man, Marvel, or Uncanny X-Men, and Universe X Spidey. Yeah, so those 6.
Cool. I might give you one to send off. I really want to send off my X-Men 78 with Stan Lee's signature.
I can do that. I can do that for you. Sure.
The Menace of Merlin.
I will not do that for our listeners, but I will do that for my brother.
Yeah. So Chris's address.
No.
Oh, it's happening, and you are making it happen.
Well,
I am making it happen to you.
To wrap up the show, one quick thing. I meant to mention this on the Thursday episode. I might go back in and edit and add it in after the fact. But one last thing I want to address just before we close out the show. Congress will be voting on net neutrality on December 14th. This is a huge thing. I have very strong opinions about it. Please, if you don't know what it is, educate yourself. Go to savetheinternet.com. Read up on net neutrality. Call your Congress members. Just anything you can do to fight net neutrality, or to fight net neutrality being killed in Congress. Excuse me.
Right.
Anything you can do to save net neutrality, to keep the internet that we know and love. Please do it. December 14th is the day the vote happens. Educate yourself and just call anyone you can.
For sure. And we all know what happens when net neutrality goes away. This podcast starts costing money.
This
right?
podcast,
Like what?
this podcast goes away when if net neutrality goes away, this podcast goes away.
Yeah, because it will cost money. It will cost us money to make it, and honestly, most of the time we're doing this out of the good, just because we love doing it. So,
Pretty much, yeah.
Keep that in mind. It's such a huge thing. Also, if you're in the state of Alabama and you are not voting for Senate,
For God's sake,
you no longer belong in our state.
Yeah. If you're in Alabama, please do not vote for Roy Moore.
Yeah, exactly.
Just jeez. But anyways, we're gonna bring
walking car crash.
he is Donald Trump 2.0.
Whoa, hey, we're not going to say anything disparaging about our idiot president, all right?
But we're going to bring this episode to a close. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today and for sticking around. This was a pretty lengthy one, but
it's a good one.
It was a good one. It was a good one. It was fun. Yeah. And Steven for joining when you had nothing better to do.
Hey, I had everything better to do. I just love you guys that much. I had nothing better.
You had nothing better. If you want to sponsor the show, check out Patreon, Satchel, and Amazon. You can go to betweenthecons.com/any of those 3 words, and it'll take you to a place where you can help sponsor. Check out betweenthecons.com. That's our website. You can link out to all of our social media accounts. You can stream our episodes online. If you like our theme music, check out Afixa. He's a super cool guy. Betweenthecons.com/bandcamp. And don't forget to subscribe. We release a new show every Monday and Thursday, except on holidays. And we'll be back on Thursday, bringing you the latest and greatest nerdy news. So why not get a notification on your phone when that is available for you to put in your ear holes?
And make sure you review us on iTunes.
And do that.
Doesn't matter what you say on the review. You can tell us what your favorite comic book character is. You can tell us what size shoe you are. And we'll think it's interesting, but
that's true.
Please,
and we'll read it on the air.
Yeah, it helps. It helps out with the algorithm. It's a tricky algorithm that iTunes has, and we want to make it to the top. So please review us and give us something to just look at and go, oh well, they have conjunctivitis. That's interesting.
Oh, interesting. 80% of our listeners have halitosis, according to our reviews.
Well, of course they do, man. They're drinking Mountain Dew Code Red and eating Funyuns.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I didn't say it sounded bad.
But anyways, thanks to everybody again for tuning in. You guys stay strong, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
Is that your jam?